talk is officially kicking off the race for the White House this week. Someone here says that will kick off the great debate about taxes in America. Good morning, everyone. I'm Cheryl Casoni in for Neil Cavuto. Let's get the bottom line. Here with us today, Charles Payne, Tracy Burns, and Gary Kaltbaum, along with Joel Schlesinger and Peter Schiff. Charles, think the election's going to be about taxes?
I really do. I mean, obviously we know economics, but the bottom line is taxes, and because it's the Democrats are coming at it from an attack on the rich, an attack on these people who have been taking money from you. In other words, split the country, politics of envy, Robin Hood approach. Will take the money from these guys who really don't deserve it or somehow stole it in the first place and give it back to you. It's all going to be about taxes.
So that's why that's going to become the front issue next year. All right, Peter, you agree with that?
Well, I think it's going to be an issue, but I think the economy in general is going to be a bigger issue. I think certainly by November it'll be obvious to just about everybody that we're in a pretty severe recession. I think a lot of the voters already know that. Just some of the people here in Wall Street haven't figured it out yet. But I think that the recession, the economy in general, is going to be a much bigger issue. And unfortunately, I think, it's not tax cuts that we need. We really need a lot of spending cuts. The government has to cut spending, because if they cut taxes and then just print the difference, what we get is inflation instead. So we have a little bit more money in our paychecks, but we have to pay a lot more for food, we have to pay a lot more for energy, and of course eventually we're going to see a big increase in interest rates as a result of all this inflation.
Well, Gary, that's on the assumption here, though, that there's going to be job losses next year, and some people are saying there's going to be job growth in 2008.
Well, look, I'm a big believer that, there's been a lot of people that have been calling for sessions for many years, and I'm not there just yet. There's no doubt there are some areas of the economy that are in recession and are problematic. Look, but I think this is going to be a huge determining factor for one simple reason. The parties are at polar opposites. You have pro-growth versus pro-government, and you know where I stand on this. I want pro-growth. The Democrats, all they want to do is make you pay more. The Republicans want you to keep more, and I'm on the Republican side here. It's going to be a big, big thing going forward.
Jill, what do you think?
I think that when you see images from Pakistan, like we've just seen over the last 2 days, that the tax issue is way on the back burner, and I think that if there is more instability in the world, people are going to be hyper-focused on issues that are global in nature, and I really don't hear a lot. I host a weekly radio show in New England. I have not heard one person call in about tax issues.
But we haven't gotten to tax season yet. Wait till March.
And you know what, they'll call in, they talk about it, but I really have to be clear that people are calling in that the one thing that I think is very clear, there are a lot of different economies right now. There are people who, yes, sure, I'm concerned about taxes. There are people who are a lot more concerned, it seems to me, about health care, about whether they're going to lose their jobs or not, and I have not heard anything, even during the past tax season, where people are hyper-focused that they're paying too much in taxes. You know why? Because they're not. We're paying the lowest level of taxes in the post-World War II era.
Well, but Tracy, some of the Democrats want to change all that. They want to take away the Bush tax cuts.
Oh, and if they get in office, they will. But I think, to Jill's point, we're very short-sighted. Last week when they took a poll as to what was the top issue for candidates going in, people want to hear about the economy. The economy was the problem, not the war on terror, nothing like that. Well, if you took that poll today, I bet you'd get a very different answer because of what just happened. So when we get closer to the election, whatever that topic is of the moment, that will be the most important topic for the people, and the candidates should focus on it accordingly.
Well, let's face it, though. You know what? The war on terror has been put on the back burner by the liberal media because, you know what? The surge is working. The surge has worked really well. Violence is down a lot. So the Democrats don't talk about Iraq, and the liberal media doesn't talk about it. And as far as tax cuts, Jill, you're right. People aren't really talking about it because they don't realize how close they are to being taxed to death. Right now, you're absolutely right. It's a wonderful thing to have low taxes because these low taxes, Peter, they have been working.
Well, Charles, the biggest tax everybody's paying right now, especially the middle class, is the inflation tax. The average person is getting killed by inflation. The cost of living is skyrocketing. Next year, you're going to see much bigger increases in the basic necessities of life.
So imagine adding more taxes to that inflation.
No, I don't want to add more taxes, but we have to cut government spending. If you just cut taxes and keep spending money,
you got a point. Gary, jump in here.
Yeah, you got to remember, though, it's all about what the politicians make it. The Republicans right now have a real good entry point here. You have this trial balloon that came out by Rangel where they want to raise taxes on the highest rate, 39%, plus a surtax, which is an absolute joke. Capital gains going up, estate tax going back. the Republicans really have a real entry to get into this. Now, look, as far as terror, that's going to be a moving target. You know, we had a tragedy this week. If we end up with some more things going on in 2008 towards the election, no doubt that's going to pick up again. So it is going to be a moving target. But don't take taxes off the table. Dollars are important to Americans.
But Cheryl, your point is a good one, because come March, when people start doing their tax returns and they're all paying AMT, taxes are going to be on the forefront, and everyone is going to be concerned about them yet again. So it might not be on the top of the list at the Iowa caucuses, but anything that happens after March, they better be addressing that.
Well, Jill, that's a good point there, is that that's a tangible thing. What we pay in taxes, we see that money in dollars and cents. It becomes not a campaign rhetoric thing, but a real thing on your bank account.
Yeah, and I think it's always a funny issue, because when you look at every single poll, people say, I pay too much in taxes, and I want increased spending on health care, I want better schools, and there's that amazing disconnect that the electorate has always had, which is, I want more, but I don't want to pay for it. And so I think that the problem is going to be, for any Democrat who gets in, who wants to raise taxes, is going to be fighting an uphill battle. I think it's going to be a hard case to make for Republicans who say, we're really good guys about taxes, except that we spent like drunken sailors over the last 8 years.
Well, who has been clear, though, on the Democratic side about what they are going to do with taxes?
I looked through this. You were very kind enough to send us a little bit of the tax proposals. There are a lot of gaping holes in every single candidate's policies. And I was just mystified by that, to think, wow, you know, we're pretty close now, right? We're within months of really getting this thing kicked into gear. People are not talking about tangible plans that they have. None of these candidates are.
And the biggest gaping hole is the fact that the so-called middle class is a moving target. You know, of course, a year ago, we were going to attack everyone who made $1 million. Then it was $500,000. Now it's around 200,000, maybe 100,000. A whole lot of people out there who have been buying into this Robin Hood thing that the Democrats are selling them may find themselves on the wrong end of this. Yeah. Maybe 80,000 is rich, and you'll get your taxes raised.
All right, Gary, so we're going to come after you, the wealthy 1% of America. You ready?
Oh, thank you so much. Look, if I am a candidate, I take out those big poster boards and say, under the Democrat proposal, this is what you're going to pay. Under Republicans, this is what you're going to pay. And it is night and day and meaningful come voter time.
Peter, you keep saying that we're going to go into recession. A lot of people don't agree with you, obviously. But, you know, if we do start to see growth slow down in 2008, how is that going to affect people when they go to vote in November?
Well, I think they're more likely to want to vote out the incumbents, and unfortunately that's the Republicans, even though the Democrats are in Congress. And, you know, I don't just think we're going to be in a recession. I think we're in one already. It's just that the government statistics don't accurately reflect that.
Well, we're going to come back to you in the next block. We're going to take